Hello all and welcome back to the woods at Lone Pine Tarot. I hope you're having a magical day or night wherever you are. For today's reading, I felt drawn to divining a message about what you need to hear most right now, right at this moment. And curiously, all the tarot decks I chose for our pile selection represented their Eight of Wands cards with birds. So for fun, I asked that you maybe picture this reading like a letter from the universe sent fluttering to your lap as if dropped from the talons of a messenger bird above. But of course, before we open said message, we must first choose our piles for today. Feel free to choose by either your favorite kind of bird out of these three or, of course, whichever picture calls to your soul the most. For pile 1, here on the left, your pile leader is from the Ostara Tarot, a hawk. In the middle for pile 2, your pile leader is from the Tarot of the Divine, the crow. And on the right for pile 3, your pile leader today is from the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, the owl. Pause here if you need an extra moment to decide, but when you're ready, your timestamp is waiting in the description. I'll see you in your reading. Hello there, pile number 1, my Ostara/Hawk pile for today. Welcome to your urgent message reading. Now, as we always do when we choose with pile leaders that are tarot cards, I'm going to put the hawk right back into your deck so that it's available for the message later if need be. But first, we're going to draw from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, as well as some oracle cards to see more about the context of this urgent message from Spirit. So, calling on Spirit for the highest best good of pile 1 today. Could you tell me more about what it is you want to talk to them about? The situation in their life, or the guidance, or could also be a heads up for the near future too. Whatever's most helpful for them right now. Thank you. Okay, I'm drawn to this one first. We have the Four of Pentacles as your first card. Your second card today is the Three of Swords reversed. Very interesting. There is a picture forming here. I think Spirit wants to reduce your pain in some way, pile 1, is the first kind of inkling I'm getting, but let's keep going. Then we have the Two of Wands reversed as your third card from the first tarot deck. And last but not least, we have, yes, the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Okay, I think pile 1, there's something you've been going through recently and or in your current present moment where there's been a lot of pain and there's been a lot of a feeling of a lack of luck. I say that because the Three of Swords reversed tends to represent a time of overcoming a heartbreak of some sort, overcoming a time where we felt a pain. And on top of that, the Wheel of Fortune reversed is a time in our life where we felt as if luck was just never in our favor. We feel like things are kind of against us, or it's just like our fate that things went awry or things are just not going so well. And on top of that, we have some extra context with the Two of Wands reversed as well as the Four of Pentacles. Now, the Four of Pentacles tends to represent a time where something is either withheld from us or we are holding something back ourselves. Specifically because it's Pentacles, it tends to represent holding back in career or finances. And then the Two of Wands reversed is usually a feeling that we are unable to plan for something. So maybe something came up unexpectedly we didn't plan for, and that has been causing the pain. That has been causing this feeling of like a downturn of luck, or very possibly it could mean that you feel as if there is a lack of space for planning for the future because there's so many, I'm hearing intuitively, like chaotic fires going on right now that you're trying to put out, that it's really hard to even focus on the future because you're like, I gotta focus on the right now, getting over this slump, getting past this point that feels unlucky. And on top of that, the Four of Pentacles can also represent a time where we feel as if we have to reserve our resources. We're not really in a space of expansion. We're in a space of let's reserve, let's hold on, let's kind of shell up like a turtle and hold things in rather than go out and spread or go forward with things. Does that kind of make sense? So with that in mind, that's at least like the first context I'm getting, but we of course also have your oracle cards. Those will also provide, well, context number 1 additionally, and maybe even some advice already, some more of a clue as to where this reading is going. So let's do that right now. Spirit, for the highest best good of pile 1, What else do you want them to know? Thank you. Feeling quite drawn to this one. We have clearing out the old, number 5. Yes, so that is very similar to what I was just talking about, where I feel like, remember I said at the very beginning where I think Spirit wants to help you overcome a pain point of some sort? Spirit is reaching out to you today because they want you to help clear out the old of this pain, clear out the old of this old phase that has been that downturn of luck, like we were talking about with the Wheel of Fortune reversed. On top of that, with the symbolism of this particular card, and this is why I love this deck a lot, well, for many reasons, it's beautiful too, but is there's so many different little symbols all over. Of course, we do have a bird again, although that's an owl instead of a hawk like you picked for your pile leader. But, you know, owls do tend to be messengers from the other side. They tend to help represent seeing things very clearly because they're night birds, right? They're associated with seeing clearly even when things are dark. So that's also kind of connected to, look at that blindfold she's got, but there's light underneath that blindfold. Maybe it's hard to pick up on camera, but it's like Spirit wants to help you see light in this darkness right now. Maybe it feels like everything's kind of dark. It feels like there's no way out. And even just the overall color palette of this card feels like a lot of light versus darkness, with those really, you know, rich, deep purples versus those golds, of course. So it's like Spirit finally helping you get to that point of light. And of course we have like dandelions, which are like making wishes. And what else also stands out to me is the keyhole over her heart. Like they're trying to help you get to that point of trying to unlock something in your heart, that thing that you want. I think maybe there is something in the far future you've been planning for, pile 1, in terms of like that is a goal. So it's not like you don't have any plans, like the Two of Wands sometimes talks about reversed, but it's like you've just had to put everything on hold. And that just reminds me too of like we have Stonehenge at the top and it's like a pocket watch around it. It's like we've had to stop time. We had to use the stopwatch, put a stop on it, and we've had to wait and wait. And you're like, man, I'm so ready to move forward, but I'm still stuck in this kind of stasis mode because of these other things going on that have been slowing me down. That's kind of the intuitive sense I'm getting off of this. So let's keep going. We have next the Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle. Very beautiful deck as well. Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile 1? And then, of course, after this, we'll draw your main tarot spread, too, with your Ostara tarot that you chose at the very beginning. So, anything else? We have Serenity. Yep, a time of peace finally coming your way. It's also the full moon at the very top, so coming to, you know, the peak of a cycle. I think right now, pile 1, based on that, you are at like the apex or the zenith, the very top of this time of struggle. So I'm happy to report when I'm hearing based both on that symbolism and that the keyword serenity came out. Spirit is basically saying you're finally on that downturn towards things calming down again. It's like climbing a mountain and it's been really tough. Finally you get to the peak and you're like, I am exhausted. But then the beauty of it is that after that mountain, you can finally come down again, and it's a bit easier on the way down. Or like, remember when you were a kid, pile 1? And if you ever like rode a bike, like sometimes you'd be in parts of your neighborhood that there'd always be like that one really big hill or that one kind of frustrating part to have to bike through because it was uphill and it just made you really tired, made you worn out. For some reason that symbolism is coming up. I don't know, maybe you've been biking a lot lately or something like that. And finally you get to the top of that hill and you're like, I'm so tired. But then at the end of it, on the other side, there's just this nice, lovely hill you can just ride. Just let the bike and gravity take you. That's what I'm feeling for this next phase of your life here after this time of difficulty, because of that metaphor of the bike and like the mountain where it's just smooth sailing. It's so much easier. It's so much more, as the card says, serenity. But let's, of course, look at your main tarot spread using the very beautiful Ostara tarot. Okay, Spirit. Can you tell us more about the situation and where it's going? Any advice you have for them, too, to make that smooth ride even easier? I mean, this reading isn't so much advice, I don't think. Well, it's quite a lot of cards. I'll shuffle those back in. This reading isn't so much advice, I don't think, pile 1. It's more just kind of a confirmation or a sign that things are going to get easier. Maybe you've been asking for a sign in that manner. But at the same time, there always is some advice, I think, so. There's always things we can do to make things smoother, so. We will see. And this card is quite prominently poking my hand, so I'll take that first. We have, yes, at the very beginning we had the sun reversed. Yep, a time of unhappiness. This is just kind of repetitive, but it's reiterating and reconfirming what I was seeing with the main 4 tarot cards in the first spread, that we have not been having a great time of luck. You might have even been, like, mentally or emotionally depressed in some way because of this pile 1, which, of course, you know, my condolences if so. That's never fun to go through at all, on top of, like, external things going on, which I can see are evident by especially the Wheel of Fortune reverse. That's kind of like external things going on without or outside of our control that are not going so well. So yes, also lack of clarity, lack of truth, because the sun is also a symbol of light in tarot. Hence, well, it's the sun, right? And that reminds me once again of that distinction between light and darkness in your Nature's Whispers card with Clear Out the Old. It's like helping you see the light after a time of darkness. It's felt so dark. I don't know, it's almost like you're finally getting the light at the end of that tunnel. And then we have the 4 of Cups reversed, is finally noticing something, finally seeing something, finally, as I said earlier, seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, okay, finally, there's that sign there, and this period of difficulty is coming to an end. And I wonder if you've already had some signs already, because the 4 of Cups often is a symbol of, like, the character in the 4 of Cups often will see the 3 around them, and then there's always 1 cup being handed to them, at least in the traditional imagery, that they're just not paying attention to. Or this particular imagery is her kind of turning her nose up at it. She's not paying attention. She's like, oh, that's not good enough for me. I think, though, I interpret this more for you as, like, it wasn't so much that you were denying the signs, pile 1. It was more just like you were so mired in so much difficulty that it was really hard to see that light. Hence, once again, the sun reversed being right next to it. So let's keep going. We'll see what your other 3 cards are. We're getting more into the future of this. And advice, of course, too. We have, in the present moment, yes, the Tower. Okay, that is also a very good reiteration of everything that's been going on. I don't know what has happened to you recently, pile 1, but this has been pivotal. This has been really big, because the Tower is often a giant pivotal moment in our lives of when something comes crashing down. Hence, I mean, literally it's on fire, right? Not a very fun moment, because like I said earlier with the full moon in the Serenity card, I think you've gotten to the peak of the difficulty. Like, you're in it right now. Hence why the Tower is also your present position card. You're like, okay, now I'm at the peak. Everything is kind of going awry. I feel like I'm just mired in, like, the deepest valley of lack of luck, okay? And we have that full moon again in the background, too, which once again reiterates to me in terms of the symbolism of the full moon of, like, you're at the zenith of this cycle, and then it's just smoother sailing from here, like I said with the bike metaphor earlier, okay? But let's keep going. We have next, the Chariot, which is also always really good to get after the Tower, because the Tower is a representation of chaos, hence, you know, the burning tower, things are falling down. The Chariot is the opposite of chaos, where someone is taking the reins, things become balanced again, as represented by the, I think they're technically chess pieces here, with the black and the white horse, or traditionally it's the 2 Sphinx, of course, in the Rider-Waite-Smith one. Things are balanced again, things come under control. We see even here with the crescent moons, like, they're kind of waning again. We were at the zenith, and now, okay, things are kind of dying down. The cycle is going out. So we're clearing out the old, as your Nature's Whispers talks about. And on top of that, the Chariot also talks of progress here in the near future. Things are going to be going a lot faster after this time of having to reserve and having to process pain and having to put our plans on hold with that 2 Wands reverse that we discussed earlier, okay? So very good sign. I think, though, there'll still be a little bit of a bump in terms of your ability to see the way, because you have a lot of symbolism here of people also closing their eyes or being blindfolded. You have that with the woman in the Clear Out the Old picture here. She's literally got a blindfold on. She can't see very well. And on top of that, we have the closed eyes in the 4 of Cups, and now we have a man who's blindfolded by the hood of his jacket or his cape here in the Chariot. So what I mean when I say that or point that out is in the near future here, It's going to start getting smoother. You might not notice it at first, though. I think there'd be a lot of, like, things going around in the background where it feels as if, like, it's still kind of chaotic, but things are kind of slowly getting smoother that you're blind to. And then it's like that domino or ripple effect of then you start seeing the evidence or, like, the outward manifestation, the physical tangibility of, okay, now things are getting smoother. I can finally see, I can finally understand, you know, where this is all going, even if at the very beginning you're not going to immediately see the results, okay? So even if immediately after this reading things don't very quickly become fixed, just know there's a lot of things going on in the background behind the scenes that you're not perceiving that are getting fixed before you can tangibly perceive them, okay? And on top of that, in terms of advice, the Chariot is a little bit of a nudge towards where possible, and, you know, pile one, I think you're already doing this. I can just tell based off of what I'm feeling, picking up on, etc. Like, where possible, try to rein in the chaos where you can, because that is one little piece of advice that the Chariot does tend to illustrate, because he is, like, grabbing the reins. He's getting control over where the Chariot is going. That also says to me as a prediction that in the near future you're going to have a period of time where you're going to be able to hold the reins. You're going to be able to control where you're going. It's not going to feel like you're just chaotically, you know, driving off of a cliff and, like, things are just going haywire and nuts. And it's like, okay, we finally have, you know, as your Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle talked about, we're going to have that serenity. Things are calm again. Things are going to be a little bit more easy to breathe with. And then your last card is very strange. We have the Six of Cups reversed. And looking at it upright, there's a group of people around. Almost looks like the head of a whale poking through the boards. I always kind of love the fantastical nature of this deck. I would interpret that Six of Cups reversed, pile one, both as a prediction and as final advice for you. Okay, Six of Cups tends to represent a time where we are drawn to maybe get stuck in the past. Also, it's a card of not being afraid to let go of the past. There's something about everything going on right now that's been chaotic and maybe even potentially heartbreaking that you might lean more towards holding on to this, either in the way of it takes you a very long time to emotionally process, which is very normal. It's not a chastisement from Spirit to say, like, you know, well, you better get over that really fast. No, but there are lingering threads attached to your heart and the wounds in your heart from this, okay? Where possible, though, and this is very connected to your clear out the old. It's a very similar message to the Six of Cups reversed. Where possible, pile one, try to let go of the past as much as you possibly can from this period or this chapter in your life that's been difficult, okay? I wonder if they're saying that because oftentimes when things go awry or things go chaotic, we tend to blame ourselves. We tend to think, oh man, I should have done A, B, C, X, Y, Z. I should have done this. I should have, you know, what if I could have prevented it? Or, you know, man, I forgot to do that thing and now it blew up in my face. You know, all those kind of self-blaming sorts of sentences we say to ourselves and when our anxiety flares when things go wrong. So Spirit is saying for you, pile one, to let that go. Okay? All you can do right now, the only power you have right now is to take the reins, like the Chariot says, and control the chaos as much as possible and try not to let the past and this chapter weigh you down mentally and emotionally so that your Chariot can go all that much faster into that future that we have been discussing. Okay. And then as a final little bit for your reading, I want to ask Spirit what good things are coming from this smoother period. So just to kind of give you a heads up and maybe some, I don't know, optimism too for the future here after this period of difficulty. Spirit, what positive things are coming? We'll do like a mini blessing reading here at the end. What positive things are coming for pile one? Well, that one wanted to come out. Okay, and we have the Emperor reversed. And when we're reading blessing readings, I read reversals a little bit different. So an Emperor reversed in a blessing reading is something that is out of whack now that's going to get improved. So the improvement of the Emperor reversed would be greater organization. Things are going to feel a lot more structured and solid. Okay. Also, if there is a masculine figure that's been a part of this chaotic time, I see that influence being removed or improved because the Emperor is the masculine energy card, so keep that in mind. Then we have the world reversed. Okay, once again, reading differently for the blessing reading of this, or blessing portion of this reading at the end here. The world reversed can mean before it felt like there was a chapter that was never ending. And now this is what's going to change after this block finally leaves, okay? In that you'll finally be able to put a curtain close on this chapter that felt like it was dragging out too long. Okay, it also means good successes in terms of, like, finally being able to tie off loose ends with something. You know, I wonder, too, if a lot of you have been completely just changing your life in a whole way, because you have so many major arcana here with, you know, Wheel of Fortune, Emperor, World, the Tower earlier as well, and the Chariot, and the Sun. Like, you have so many of them, and as a tarot reader, I tend to see periods of time when we have lots of major arcana, as this is a pivotal moment in life. So just know, as I said, with blessing readings like this mini reading at the end here, these will get unblocked. So things that have felt lacking structure or negative masculine influences improved. Things that have felt like they dragged on too long ended and improved. And then the last card is the Empress. Look at that feminine energy. Opposite of the Emperor too. Or his counterpart at least. And the Empress in a blessing reading tends to represent a time where things finally feel fertile again. Things feel like they can grow. Things feel like they're actually making progress, especially with our creativity, because that's another really good keyword to use with the Empress pile 1. And on top of that, it feels like it's just, I don't know, I'm getting the word easier. It's just an easier time. Even just the way, like, looking at the way she's lounging in that almost very luxurious looking chair or throne. I mean, there's like pillows, it's like satiny, right? And she's in a time of abundance too, because she does represent that fertility of the earth and of the land, being the feminine energy card. Things will start growing again. Things will feel abundant again. Things will feel as if we can finally move forward on creative projects, okay? So just know, pile 1, things are going to get better from the heartbreak and the string of bad luck that you've been having recently. Just, once again, final pieces of advice are, where you can, let go of the past as much as possible from this chapter, and don't self-blame. And on top of that, don't be afraid to reign in chaos where possible, and that will help bring you to these blessings we talked about in the last part of your reading today. So, that was your urgent message that the universe wanted you to hear today. Spirit wanted you to hear today. I hope that it helped you and you liked it and it resonated with your situation, pile 1. And if so, please like and comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, as a small channel that helps Lone Pine Tarot so much. Every like, every comment, and every subscription too. So thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things today. And as we say in our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye, pile 1. Hi there, pile number 2, my Tarot of the Divine / Crow pile. Welcome to your urgent message reading for today. And as we always do when we choose with tarot cards, I'm going to put this right back into the deck of your choice so that it is available for the message later if need be. But to begin, we're actually going to draw from my Smith-Waite tarot deck, as well as some oracle decks today. So calling on Spirit for your highest, best, good, Spirit. For pile 2, can you tell me more about the context of this message? The reason you're reaching out, what's going on in their life that you would like to discuss? Thank you. Okay, this is the first prominent card. We have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. Second card today, we have the Magician. Very clear picture is forming here, but let's draw them all before I say for certain. Then the third card today is the Knight of Pentacles. So for a lot of you, this is probably a message related to your career or finances, but we'll keep going. And then, last but not least, for your fourth card, we have the Ace of Swords. Very interesting. The contrast between a reversed ace at the beginning versus an upright ace at the end. So I will tell you this, pile 2. Spirit is reaching out to you today because there's something that you've been trying to manifest, but you've been lacking opportunities in trying to get it off the ground. Spirit is saying that they have acknowledged that you have done a really great job in terms of working hard at it, hence the energy of the Knight of Pentacles, because he is a very, as I always say, my favorite phrase with the Knight of Pentacles, and in life in general, He's the knight of slow and steady wins the race. You've been putting in the effort. It might have been slow going, but it's not like you haven't been taking action, hence why he's upright, okay? You've been taking that steady action. You've been trying to manifest. You've been trying to gather your resources. That's often what the magician is about. He gathers, pentacles, swords, cups, and a wand in order to, as it says, he has his arm going up, so as above, down to the hand down, so below. I desire it, I will it, so therefore it becomes. You've been trying. However, the Ace of Pentacles reversed represents a time where it feels like the external universe has just not been granting us that opportunity, and especially because of the abundance of pentacles, that's why I said this is probably related to career or finances for a lot of you, maybe not all of you, but Ace of Pentacles reversed can especially mean to me a lack of a gateway into an opportunity regarding career or with money. So maybe you've been trying to get a promotion. Maybe you have been trying to get a job if you were let go of one or had to leave one, etc. Maybe you have been trying to get a business off the ground and you just are not finding that opportunity, or you're not getting orders or requests, etc. However that works for your particular business. But I will tell you this, and this is the reason Spirit's reaching out to you today, Pile 2. You have the Ace of Swords at the end. And as I said at the very beginning, it's funny how you have an ace reversed at the beginning and an ace upright at the end. So that usually means positive movement. And the positive movement of the Ace of Swords is about a new direction, a new breakthrough, okay, and also new ideas, because as a swords card, it represents the element of air in tarot. So it's all about the mind. It's all about our direction in terms of where our mind is going, our ideas, sometimes communication too. So for some of you, this might even mean that there's something coming in terms of a communication that will help you make the progress that you're looking for in this area of your life very soon, okay? I would almost even say, based on the abundance of aces, it might be within a day, within 1 week, or within 1 month or so. And on top of that, you have the number 1 repeated with the Magician, because it is the first card in the major arcana after the Fool. His number is 1, so definitely 1 is repeated a lot. I don't do timing too much in tarot readings, but I am hearing 1, 1, 1 there with those 3, okay? And then, yes, the Knight of Pentacles. Although he tends to be the slowest knight in tarot. You have so many 1s, I'm like, it kind of outweighs the timing prediction of that Knight of Pentacles. I think that's more representative, as I said, of you having worked so dang hard for so dang long for this, that, well, you've manifested it, is what Spirit is saying here with the Magician. You're getting that breakthrough with the Ace of Swords. But let's look at your Oracle cards to be sure and see what other details there are here for you. So this is kind of turning into a blessing reading, actually, or a breakthrough reading, almost, I would categorize it as, because it's a very positive outcome here. Spirit, what else would you like to say to Pile 2 about this? Thank you. Let me see, 1 or 2? 2, okay, thank you. We have a Celestial, very beautiful card. It's odd. I wonder if what you're trying to accomplish does have a higher purpose outside of just, like, money, or just out of, like, business, or, like, the tangible goal. That's what I'm feeling with that particular card. Although Celestial can mean many different things. It can also mean fated, as in it's within your stars, hence Celestial, right? I'm going to draw one more clarifier on that Oracle just to be sure. Oops, that was a very poor shuffle there. We're going to try that again, Pile 2. There we go, that one's better. I was so focused on the pretty card that I wasn't looking at what I was shuffling. Okay. The whole deck is very beautiful, though, so you can't blame me for getting distracted by the shinies. Okay. Temperance reversed. Lack of moderation, imbalance. With Celestial. Like the stars finally aligning in your favor after it felt so out of balance. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. That's what I was saying, Pile number 2. Remember I said, well, maybe it means Celestial because it's in your stars, like it's in your fate. That's exactly what the Wheel of Fortune means. And on top of that, it also means a good turn of fate when it is upright. So yes, this is definitely like a blessing breakthrough reading for you today. I am very happy to announce to you, but let's keep going. Especially luck in terms of where things have felt like there's been a lack of moderation or balance, hence the Temperance card reversed, okay? And then we have the Nature's Whispers Oracle. So this is fated for you. This is meant in your life path for you to receive this thing, Pile 2. We have quite a lot of fate symbolism there with the Celestial card and the Wheel of Fortune. Well, very obviously I'm drawn to this one because it just poked me in the hand. We have, ooh, illumination. And then we also have the full moon there. Full moon always makes me think of like the zenith or the peak of something. Like we're finally getting to the full culmination of our dreams, of the things that we have been hoping for. And she is, well, riding on a moth up towards that moon, following the light. And illumination, of course, means bringing to light something. So once again, I have a lot of clarifiers in this reading today, but I just want to be sure. Spirit, what is being illuminated for pile 2? Can you tell me? And maybe this is what leads to the breakthrough, is you getting this illumination, this thing highlighted to you in some way. Let's see here. We have the Queen of Wands reversed. Something that you lacked confidence in. You thought, well, I'm not sure that'll ever come to fruition. Or you lacked confidence in yourself. And then we have the Nine of Wands reversed, which is being finished with a time of having to be determined yet tired because we've waited so long. Or it's been a really hard, long battle. So, I wonder, pile 2. Especially because of the Queen of Wands. This might be a creative project too that you're getting some illumination on, some light on. Maybe it's like a business related to creativity. Like, I don't know if you have like an Etsy store or something along those lines. An illumination with confidence and determination. You're going to hear something that in the near future, that might be that communication I was talking about with the Ace of Swords. You're going to hear something in the near future that inspires more confidence in you and gives you more of that willingness or that ability to fight. Because right now you're tired and you're lacking confidence. I mean, obviously, because, it's been a really hard road trying to manifest this thing, but it's like that thing is coming very soon. Like I said, with the aces, well, both aces and the magician, it's like very, very immediate. Well, look at your main tarot spread. I'm very curious, pile 2. I'm sorry I haven't been able to exactly ping what it is, but obviously for some of you it's going to be very different as to what this message is that you get in your waking life or your, like in real life outside of this reading, but let's see. Spirit, what else do you want to say about this situation for them? Especially me as the confused tarot reader. What's the message that they're going to receive? Communication. We have the Knight of Swords reversed. Can mean a person. Well, that's another thing I wanted to tell you. The Queen of Wands reversed could have also meant a person. So this message might be coming from someone that is feminine, who is a fire sign, or tends to represent the qualities of they lack confidence, they're not very sure of themselves, but despite that, they might be the very source of this message that will help you make this progress of this manifestation that you're trying to bring about, okay? And on top of that, the Knight of Swords reversed can also be a person, pile 2, and a Knight of Swords reversed person tends to be more 30s to 40s. I don't really assign genders necessarily to pages or knights in tarot, so kind of a balanced masculine feminine energy. It could be a toss-up. And on top of that, they tend to be an air sign because he's the Knight of Swords, okay? And if not necessarily the, like an air sign, it could be someone that represents his qualities. So the Knight of Swords reversed as a person would be, they might be a little impulsive with the way they take action, with the way they say things. I wonder if this message might almost be like blurted out in some way. Like maybe they're not supposed to tell you, but they blurt it out and then they're like, oh, oops, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But actually in the end, it helps you. So that might be where it's coming in really unexpected. I'm almost feeling that Queen of Wands and the Knight of Swords person are the same person. Like, they lack confidence, they blurt something out, they weren't supposed to tell you, but it's not a negative thing, because it actually helps you, and that's what brings this illumination to help you keep fighting and gain confidence in your ability to manifest this goal. It's something along those lines. Let's keep going. And then your second card is the Six of Pentacles, a very good outcome card in terms of, predicting for success with career, financial things, because the Six of Pentacles is equal distribution of wealth. It's also charity. This person might also help, maybe, I don't know, like, they might help you invest in this too, or they buy something from you, and it's like the first... I wonder if a lot of you have just started a business, and you're, like, waiting for your first order to come in. And it's like they're the ones that buy it from you, or if you guys are looking for, say, a job or like a promotion of some sort, there's an element of someone seeing your struggle here with the Six of Pentacles, because as I said, it does represent charity. And the blurting out might be like they know they want to promote you, but they're not supposed to say it yet, but then someone tells you and you're like, oh, well, I mean, very happy that, you know, they blurted out, because then you know ahead of time, right? That, or for those of you searching for a job, pay attention to when people blurt out things, especially someone that comes off as not very confident. That will also probably help you with your job search here, okay? Although, like I said, I think you're pretty fated to find that job too if you're looking for one, because I mean, you know, as I said, it's kind of fated with the Wheel of Fortune, of course, and then the Celestial card too. Then we have beautiful, the Nine of Pentacles in your present position, reaping the fruits of your labor. That's doesn't need too much explanation, pile two. It just means, yep, all the hard work you've been putting in is that Knight of Pentacles. Some of you actually even maybe earth signs too. All that hard work you've been putting in, like this figure here who grew the melon patch. Now he gets to reap the fruits of his efforts just like you do. Okay, so that's just a reaffirmation once again from Spirit. This is going to turn out well. You're well on your path to something good. Now, we're getting into the near future and the outcome / also advice card positions. So let's see what pops out here. We have wonderful, okay, the Five of Pentacles reversed. I don't need to reiterate it too much more, but apparently Spirit wants to, pile two. Five of Pentacles reversed means overcoming a time of hardship with our finances, okay? And also overcoming a time when it feels like an institution has failed us or has not been recognizing us, you know, as represented by the figure, you know, sitting out cold right in front of a church, which is supposed to represent, like, charity, right? Just like the Six of Pentacles does. But reversed, it's like, okay, we're overcoming that very soon. So that is the near future, as I said. Those ones, plus now this card in your near future makes me think this is coming rapid speed pace at your way, okay? So just don't be shocked if something changes very soon here, okay, with this thing that you've been struggling with. And then last but not least, we have wonderful, the Ten of Swords reversed. I'm going to be repetitive, but it's a really good repetition, pile too. Because the Ten of Swords means a time where we felt at our absolute lowest, at our absolute most betrayed or left behind. That energy reverses and we're finally in a time of prosperity. We're recovering from what felt like our lowest point. Okay, so I don't really need to repeat or explain any of this too much. I mean, it's not even so much even like there's no advice here either. Most readings I have at least a little bit of advice from Spirit for the situation going on, but for you it's kind of like you've been working hard. We know it's been difficult, but you're fated to have these things improve, especially these last three cards, that Nine of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles reversed, and the Ten of Swords reversed, pile two. You've got it in the bag. Okay, so I'm very happy to report that to you. Although, just like pile one today, I want to do like a final little mini reading at the end here with my Smith-Waite Tarot. I just want to ask here, let's see, what's a good question to ask for you? I'm going to ask more about the situation in which you hear this message that helps you, the communication, the breakthrough, the Ace of Swords with that person. Spirit, can you tell me more about this situation where they hear this thing that helps them so that they don't miss it when the time comes in real life? Thank you. Tell me more about the situation. We have Five of Wands. A lot of you, it might be a meeting room where there's been a lot of debate, because the Five of Wands tends to represent a time when people have been clashing with each other, not in a harsh way, but in the battle of egos and the battle of wills. I almost wonder, too, for those of you this is job-related, where you're currently, like, at a company already, like you're not job searching, if there's been a lot of debate within your company recently, maybe there's been a lot of restructuring or, like, people leaving, and it's been a lot of hullabaloo about, like, who the heck's going to take this role and who's going to take this position, etc. That's that kind of shuffle feeling I get with the Five of Wands, of people debating, people discussing, people trying to figure out. And of course, you know, too, when promotions come about, there's a little bit of ego involved, because sometimes people want to put certain people forward and other people not. And then I think you're a top candidate, though, pile two, because of everything so far. All right. Or same thing, too, if you're searching for a job, it's at a time where people are competing with each other. So it makes me think of, like, obviously, like, during an interview is when you're kind of competing with each other or other people indirectly. Of course, they're not there with you at the interview with the other candidates, but yeah. Or if it's a business, same thing. Could be a meeting of a bunch of business owners in your niche, in your field, something like that. When you're hard at work. You're very hard at work, pile too. I almost wonder if you're not really participating in the argument, you're just kind of nose to the grindstone doing your own thing, trying to get this off the ground, and then all of a sudden you hear it because you look up from your work and you're like, oh, maybe that's something to be paying attention to. So don't miss it just because you're working hard. And then we have, look at the Nine of Pentacles again. It's also a time when you're finally glimpsing the fruits of your labor, or someone involved in the situation is glimpsing the fruits of their labor too. Or they're talking about, like, what's the final benefit of if we put the effort or the resources into this thing? Like, what do we get out of it after we put the resources into it? It's something along those lines. It's that kind of discussion, and that's when you're going to hear it. Pile 2, okay? So there's definitely people involved. It's definitely probably work related to, or you'll hear this thing at work because you have tons of Pentacles cards. And probably when people are debating because of the Five of Wands, all right? So wonderful. I mean, it's kind of a blessing reading. It's a breakthrough reading for you today, Pile 2. That's what Spirit wanted you to hear most. So, as I always say, I hope the reading helped you. I hope that you felt that it resonated, you liked it in some way, and if so, please like, please comment, please subscribe, because especially with a channel that's this small, every little bit of interaction helps so much. So I thank you if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more than one today. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, Pile 2. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile number 3. Welcome to your urgent message reading. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the pile leader of the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, aka the Owl, today. So, we're going to put this right back into your main tarot deck for the message later if need be, but we're actually going to start with the Smithwaite Tarot to gain more context on what it is Spirit wants to reach out to you today about. So speaking of calling on Spirit for the highest best good of Pile 3 today, could you tell me more about, well, that was very quick, more about what you want them to know? What is the context of this urgent message? Thank you. We already know what our first card is. Over here we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Then your second card today is the King of Wands reversed. Okay, I think they want to talk to you about a struggle you've been having recently. This is going to be talking through some sort of problem or issue that you have been having to contend with. Then we have, yes, okay, the Three of Swords. That makes total sense. Something painful you've been dealing with recently, Pile 3 as well. That's usually what the Three of Swords represents. And then last but not least, we have the Hierophant. Tradition, something being carried on, something not changing. Very interesting. The card of tradition with this spread can also mean an authority figure. So a lot of you, I think recently you've been going through a situation where, well, number one, there's been a downturn of luck. That's what the Wheel of Fortune reverse tends to represent. And on top of that, it's not just been a downturn of luck, it's also been a pain of some sort, hence the Three of Swords. And this might not resonate with all of you, but because of the presence of both the King of Wands reversed and the Hierophant, who are both leaders, both authority figures, I think for a lot of you, this pain and bad luck you've been going through is related to a person that is an authority figure, or even if they don't literally have tangible power, like say a manager or someone in control of some sort of process that you've been going through that's been like a struggle for you, they might have power in the way of how they behave. They might be a very traditional person. They might be someone who like comes off as spiritual because the Hierophant does technically represent spiritual authority, but because of the presence of the King of Wands reversed, that tends to be someone who is, they can tend to be angry. Maybe they bark at people. They're not necessarily the most kind with their words, especially in the way that their temper comes out. That's another really good keyword to use with the King of Wands reversed. They also might be impeding your ambitions, hence that fire energy of the wands with the King of Wands. Maybe they have been putting a block on your ambitions, or also creativity. Maybe it's been dampening that, because that is another way that the fire energy of the King of Wands can represent itself, because, well, fire in tarot is related to your creation, your creativity, your ambitions, those things, your willpower. Maybe it's even been kind of killing your will or your drive to continue on this path because of this person getting in your way. Or for those of you where you're not resonating with that being a literal person, it could mean that spirit is reaching out about a situation that feels as if like you keep getting blocked with your ambitions, hence the King of Wands reversed. You keep getting blocked with your authority with the Hierophant. Maybe it's even in the way of you're supposed to have power in this situation, but for some reason it keeps eluding your grasp, or it's withheld from you by an even higher authority. Okay, like I'm thinking, just as an example, it might not resonate with all of you, but say you're at a job where you're like in a certain management or power position, and then someone above you is in like a higher power position, and like you're supposed to have this authority down here, but then the person up here keeps impeding that authority, or like walking all over your authority, where so it doesn't even feel like you have that power anymore. You feel like powerless. It's something along those lines. So Spirit is reaching out to you today with something regarding this situation. So let's keep going with the Oracle cards that, of course, will give us some more context, as well as maybe even some advice about where this is going, what they want to say about the direction of this struggle. So let me shuffle that again, because I did not shuffle that deck very well right now. There we go. Okay, I got that done better. Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile 3 about this very frustrating situation, it seems like? That's always one of my pet peeves, too, is when people have tempers. I've never been good with people with tempers. So my condolences if you've been dealing with that, pile 3. And then we have leap of faith. Having to take a leap of faith of some sort. I wonder if this might be a guidance reading for you to get away from the situation that's been bothering you. In which case, I feel intuitively like part of your advice today will be to take a leap of faith of some sort. But let's keep going. We'll see what your other Oracle deck says. And then I'll probably draw some clarifiers on even just that one. Or if this card is a little bit not 100% direct, I'll probably pull clarifiers on that one too. So Spirit, what else do you want to tell pile 3 about this? It's interesting that faith does come up again too, because remember I said the Hierophant can be a spiritual authority, and then we have leap of faith. So I think for a lot of you, it could also be related to a spiritual group. Speaking of protection, we have white light. They want to give you advice to protect yourself from this person, pile 3, to protect yourself from their influence, from them bothering you anymore, or from the situation bothering you, okay, if it's not even just a literal person. Let me grab the clarifier on leap of faith, though. Spirit, what do you want to say about the leap of faith for pile 3? Yeah, dang. I mean, what an influence. If Spirit is recommending white light, I don't get the feeling that this is a very nice person for those of you dealing with a person. So, okay, yep, 2 of Cups. It's with a relationship of some sort. I don't know if some of you have been kind of hanging on to this person, especially if it's like a romantic relationship. And then we have, yes, the 3 of Pentacles reversed is a lack of teamwork. So they're saying to take a leap in the situation where you feel as if someone that you're in a relationship with, which could mean romantic or platonic, pile 3, wherever it feels like this person is not working with you, hence 3 of Pentacles reverse, lack of teamwork, don't be afraid to take a leap of faith that helps remove yourself from that situation, okay? Especially if they've got a temper, because that's never fun to be around like angry people, right? Let's keep going. I'm very curious. Normally I would explain these cards more, but I'm going to draw your main tarot spread, because I just want to be sure, pile 3. I think they're advising you just to try to remove this person's influence as much as you can and protect yourself as much as you can, hence the white light. Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile 3 about this? I already have quite a lot of cards. Okay, what's the one poking my hand right here, back here? Is this one. We have, yes, okay, the white heart, which is the Fool in most decks, as number 0. It represents a new beginning. You're encouraged to choose new paths instead of old ones with this situation. That will probably help you get away from the heartbreak and the pain. So say it is like a job situation, try to choose a new path as much as possible, where possible. I'm not saying immediately like leave this job necessarily, pile 3, but it might be a good idea, especially if you deep down that this influence, say if it is like a manager as an example, like will never be removed, or like they're never really gonna let go, and it's like your word against them, and like that they'll keep that person then really the only path you can take away from them to remove this pain that you've been going through is to choose a new path of some sort. But let's keep going. That's at least intuitively what I'm feeling. Then we have, look at that, we have the King of Wands reversed again. So for sure, I think this is a person for a lot of you, and I won't repeat his message too much because it's very similar to the King of Wands you got earlier. In fact, I wonder if a lot of you, because these technically can represent your farther past and the recent past with this timeline spread I like to use. I wonder if it already is a new job for a lot of you. And already you have this person that's there. That King of Wands can mean a person who is masculine, older, tends to be a fire sign, or if not a fire sign, that represents those qualities I talked about before with like the temper, or they're kind of angry, or they're sharp with their words in terms of like they're just mean. They're just mean. I don't know. They feel mean to me, pile 3. It's just not good vibes. Especially, man, I feel so bad, especially if you already did like get to a new job and already you're having this person. Because when you get a new job or when you get to a new place and you're like, oh my god, finally, like there's something cool here, it's gonna be great, like it's gonna be so much better than the last place, and then you get this person here, you're like, oh crap, it is not as good as I thought it would be. That's really disheartening, pile 3. So my condolences if you're resonating with that part of the message. They just don't work well with others too. I wonder too, because the King of Wands can mean ego too. Sometimes I read it as someone who's very egotistical. I wonder if they don't let you have any power because it like threatens their ego. Like they're just not fun vibes, man. No wonder why Spirit's like protect yourself from this person. And then we have the Two of Boons or Pentacles reversed is your present position card, and it's literally look at the troll under the bridge too. Who is this person? They're like a troll under your bridge. Or the situation, if it's not a person, feels like there's just a troll under your bridge. You're trying to balance so much. You're trying to just get your work done, or you're trying to go forward over this bridge. You're like, I just want to get past this. I just want to keep going and make sure everything goes well. And then you have this freaking troll underneath the bridge who's just like, well, you know how trolls are, right? You know, either internet ones or just in general in life. Like, they impede your progress. They throw rocks at you. They just, yeah. Anyways, okay. I'll just call them the troll from now on, because that's apparently what Spirit wants to call them, is the troll. The angry troll. God, no wonder why you've been struggling. No wonder why they're telling you to take a leap of faith and a new beginning with the White Heart, too, or the Fool. Okay, now we're getting into the near future / the advice cards and your outcome card. We have the Eight of Cups reversed. Okay. This is reiterating what I was saying before, pile 3, so I apologize, it's a tad repetitive, but the Eight of Cups reversed can mean a time where we're struggling to let something emotionally go. If this is, if it is job related for you, pile 3, then you're being encouraged to maybe let go of something emotionally at this job. With this person, maybe your hope that this sounds really, man, this sounds so pessimistic, but it's like Spirit saying, like, trying to let go of the hope that they'll get better, because I just don't think that they will. Like, that's why you're being encouraged with the Eight of Cups reversed, like, to emotionally let go of that idea, just for your own safety, and just not to get your hopes dashed again and again with this person. Or same thing too, as I said, you know, I won't necessarily suggest that you leave the job. I mean, that's always up to you, and I'm never going to suggest something like that. I mean, that's up to you, pile 3. You know, I'm a tarot reader. I just give suggestions based on the cards and the messages coming through from Spirit, etc., and different sources. But I mean, that card combined with the Fool, I mean, that just makes me think of like leaving something behind, doing something new. And on top of that, even if it's not a literal moving away from this job, pile 3, it can mean mentally moving away from this job. As I said, like letting go of the idea that that part of this job or this person is going to be ideal, or like what you expected or what you were hoping for. And I know that's really difficult to hear, and I hate to have to deliver that message, but at the same time, like that's what I'm feeling intuitively based off of these cards. And on top of that too, I mean, if this isn't like a job, maybe it's like a literal like a relationship, like say with a friend of yours, pile 3, or with, you know, a romantic partner of yours, whoever it might be. Maybe it's even a family member that you've been struggling with recently. Once again, I think Spirit is just saying, it might be a good idea to consider leaving something emotionally behind, and maybe consider choosing a new path or a new relationship, or something that lets you leave the toxic parts behind, whatever that means to you in your particular situation. Okay, so this is kind of simultaneously a reading that's acknowledging the pain that you've been going through, but it's also simultaneously a reading that's encouraging you to find the breakthrough away from this pain by taking a leap of faith into something new and leaving the old behind that no longer serves you. Okay, just to kind of summarize everything so far. And then let's look at your final card. We have the Queen of Challenges, or Weaver of Challenges, which is the Queen of Swords in most decks. And she can be a person, as, you know, the other court cards are. A Queen of Swords can represent someone feminine energy, powerful in their energy, positive in their energy, because she's literally the only court card that came up, like, upright in this whole entire spread, unlike the King of Wands that kept coming out reversed. So I wonder if this represents you, pile 3. Maybe you are feminine energy, mostly, or you tend to be, have a lot of, like, air sign placements in your astrological chart, or you are maybe a sun air sign, you know, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, etc. And on top of that, it's someone that addresses life in the way of thinking it, like, thinking of it in a logical, tactful way, or tactician, or like pieces on a chessboard kind of oriented way. Like, she's very mental and airy and communicative, and she's smart. Because she is the Queen of Air in tarot. She's someone who is very clear in her communication. She's very logical. Okay, so what I mean by explaining all of this, pile 3, is as an outcome, I do maybe see a period of time where you're more independent, because that is a keyword I would use with the Queen of Swords. She's not necessarily, well, she's not mean, she's not unromantic, or she's not unfriendly. It's just that out of all of the 4 queens, she tends to represent, to me, at least in my experience, someone who's a bit more independent, you know, as represented by, you know, she's got like the bramble thorns around her, which don't mean, as I said, that she's mean. It just means that she has really good boundaries around her. So you might be going into a period of time after this, should you choose to kind of split away, or should you choose a new path, or at least to kind of distance yourself from this person a little bit, or the situation, where you are a little bit more independent. You are putting up more boundaries because, number 1, you have to recover from the pain, and number 2, it's, you know, same thing with white light, just like the brambles. It's putting up a boundary of security and safety around yourself that you deserve to have, because you don't deserve to have to deal with a King of Wands reversed energy. It's just mean. They're just the bridge troll, as I said, underneath the bridge with the 2 of Pentacles. I mean, literally, you're just trying to survive. You're trying to balance everything, and they're just this troll throwing rocks at you angrily for, like, no reason. That's a King of Wands reverse. That's the troll, right? So, and on top of that, she might be not just a prediction of more independence. She's also advice to follow her example. So if this is like a more difficult separation, even if, you know, no matter if it's like a job or if it's like a relationship or whatever the situation might be for you that you're finding resonating with this, pile 3, she's advised to go about it in a very logical, almost distant way. Not mean, but distant, in a way of, remember the mantras of, I deserve to protect myself. Remember white light too. Maybe you want to do some white lighting too. Because, I don't know, there's something spiritually weird about this person or the situation too, hence that Hierophant. It's like something kind of spiritually dark. Anyways, whatever. You know what I mean? Spiritual protection. And if you don't know how to white light, well, there's plenty of guides online, etc. Very good practice. Maybe even doing some other kind of cleansing, you know, meditations, etc., whatever your spiritual practice you prefer is for that. So yes, remember the mantras. I deserve to protect myself. Remember the mantra, I will go about this in a logical way. Okay. And also remember the mantra of, I deserve to leave behind that which no longer serves me. Those are kind of the 3 main guiding principles that Spirit wants you to take away from this message today. Okay. So don't be afraid to take that leap of faith. Don't be afraid to bound into the future with less of this baggage holding you back. As I said, you know, some of you, it might be a relationship that's been holding on. Like, I wonder if maybe it's, some of you, it might even be a romantic relationship where it's like you've technically split, but you kind of maybe keep coming back together. But, like, you know, it might not necessarily be like the best pairing or match because of their temper or because of their attitude, things like that. But then it's like you're just maybe having a really difficult time fully separating yourself, which is understandable because, you know, when we've been with someone romantically, it's hard. Well, here's the thing. It's easy to remember the really good times, pile 3. It's difficult to remind ourselves, though, of the negatives and the bad times. Okay, but just remember that you deserve to protect yourself. Or same thing, if it's a manager that's negative, you shouldn't have to take that crap. Okay, like I'll just say it bluntly, you shouldn't have to take that crap, pile 3. No matter who this person is or whatever the situation is that feels like it's been very mean to you and has been giving you this pain with the 3 of Swords that we saw in the beginning, okay? So remember, you deserve to protect yourself. White light cleansing meditations or cleansing practices are really good for this situation. Spiritually detox, emotionally detox from this, okay? Spirit is saying, and yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to walk through life feeling there's a troll waiting under every bridge to throw rocks at you, okay? Like, that's just, you deserve freedom from that worry, is another thing I'll say I'm hearing from Spirit, okay? So just keep that in mind and take good care of yourself, pile 3. That's what I will say here at the end. So that was your urgent message from Spirit today. I hope, number 1, that it helped you in some way. That's my main goal with these readings, but also that you liked the reading and it resonated with you. And if so, please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. As a very small channel, Lone Pine Tarot, every little bit does help this channel tremendously. So I do thank you if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more, today, after your reading is complete. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile 3, or your night too, depending on when you're watching, of course. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye, pile 3.